reading about climate change is like reading about the apocalypse. To think that like this is what we're leaving our kids as it gets rapidly worse and worse and worse feels like such a horrifying failure.
I wanted to feel how I felt before Katrina, but I never got that feeling. I never was anywhere that I felt as comfortable as I was before the storm.
It's interesting to think about the ways in which climate change can affect mental health. I think a lot of people are not really aware that this is a problem.
I grew up in Southern California, in a part of Southern California called San Bernardino. It's the Inland Empire and it's very fire prone. I was about 6 months old during the Panorama fire and our whole neighborhood burned. My house somehow didn't burn. And so that was sort of my birth into fire, if you will.
I was 13 when Katrina happened. The Saturday before the storm actually hit, I had to go to choir practice at church. And my dad was boarding up the house. We had to put boards on the windows. And then after we left, my mom was just like, no, when we go home, start packing your stuff because we're leaving. So that's what we did.
Last year, we're in the middle of the pandemic, and I wake up one morning and I looked outside and the sky seemed orange. We were driving along the highway and you couldn't see the ocean. It just looked like the world ended. I sort of can't explain how apocalyptic it was, right? Like it was like being in some sort of apocalypse movie. I started having a panic attack and I realized that I couldn't drive the car safely. I was not breathing. So we pulled off. We ended up in a Whole Foods parking lot. My husband drove in, got us out of the car and loaded us all in, and we picked up the car the next day.
We can all recognize that if you experience a natural disaster, it's a very stressful event. It's frightening, it disrupts your life, it disrupts your community.
I was about maybe 15 or 16 when I realized that Katrina had an impact on my well-being as far as just being in totally new environments. I realized once I decided to go to Texas for college, I just had to move around a lot. So I find a psychiatrist, I go to see him, I talk to him, and he was just like, oh, you definitely have some PTSD. You're searching for some type of stability.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can be quite common because it is traumatic to live through one of these events. And so people might have recurrent memories of what they went through during the disaster.
We've been watching these increasingly aggressive waves.
Every time hurricane season starts, it's always kind of like a drop in my heart. Like my heart kind of sinks. It's always like, will this be the year that we have another Katrina or something worse?
Climate change, it's been described as an existential threat, something that would challenge the way we think about the world. And I think it has the potential to really erode our sense of security.
It's logistical, it's operational, right? You're like, where do I have my go bag? And you like know where my family is at all times. And do I have enough medication? Do we have enough air filters? And you also know logistically that you have to plan ahead.
We've been very lucky, but we never underestimate hurricane season ever. It's just not something you do. As somebody who went through Katrina.
When fire season ends, you know that things are gonna be okay for 6 months. And that's the crazy part, right? So in that moment, you're like, oh my God, it's amazing. Fire season is over. And then you're also like, and it's gonna come back.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.